What's going on, guys? I'm Andy from The Art is Murder, and we are in DaBelly.
Hi, this is Dave from DaBelly. Today we're at the Nile Theater in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm with Andy Marsh from Thy Art is Murder. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's nice and warm down here today, so...
See, there's the opportunity to get down to Arizona. Touring does pay off sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when we were here in the summer a few months ago in Mayhem, it was 115 one day. It was shocking.
A
so.
cool day.
Yeah.
Cool day. You're used to that, though. There's parts of of Australia that does get that warm.
Yeah, I think we played an outdoor festival a few years ago. It was Fahrenheit. It would have been about 132 degrees. So
And you lived.
yeah, and we lived like barely, but yeah, definitely drank a lot of water that day and not much beer. It was just straight water.
I can't imagine. Well, congratulations on your latest album, Holy War. It's exciting. It's been out for 6 months. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, it is coming up on 6 months. I think it's been pretty well received. No one's misinterpreted the messages that we kind of put in our lyrics, thankfully, because otherwise we would have been in a lot of trouble. And graciously, we were nominated for an ARIA in our own country, which is kind of like the Grammys of Australia. Didn't win though, unfortunately. Some other fools, friends of ours, North Lane, won the ARIA, so well done to them. Unlucky for us, but death metal band's probably never going to win.
Well, yeah, you may be right there. Death metal has been sort of ignored by the populace, but obviously has their fans, hardcore fans.
Yeah, I mean, well, they just don't have a position of voting in such realms of the music industry, I guess. But it's one of those things where for a band like us, even to be nominated is a win enough for us. We're out here slogging it for 200, sometimes 220 days a year. So to even get that kind of recognition is really kind of something special. I mean, we don't do it for awards, we do it to make music that we like and for our fans. But, when you get recognized, it's one of those things. It's more validating for our parents than it is for us, It legitimizes the terrible choices that we made in the last 5 to 10 years. And when they told us to get real jobs, I think it means a lot to them and our families.
Unfortunately, real jobs end up being burger stands and the old video stores that used to exist. And
yeah, I don't know. I think the rat race is something that unifies all of us in the band. None of us have any interest in having a career that exists only to sustain having a career. I was actually going to be a lawyer before I started playing in this band. So yeah, nah, that's not for me. I like playing death metal, so here I am in lovely Arizona, 77 degrees in the winter. It's great.
Well, lyrical themes on this album. You've sort of reached again for organized religion and child abuse and so on. Kind of social, not social justice, but more bringing attention to some of the inappropriate things that are going on in the world. It seems like familiar ground for you. Why do you like that? Why do you like going down that road?
Because it's the most interesting thing to talk about nowadays. I mean, we're just, art imitates life, life imitates art. I mean, if you look at the Fox News every day, I mean, you're probably going to get a less genuine outlook on the world than what we're giving you on our records, that's for sure. But, I think we travel a lot now. We're worldly people. Like I said, we're on the road for over 200 days a year. So we're seeing lots of places around the world, not through a computer screen or the newspaper, but we're actually going there and meeting real people and fans and asking them about what it's like to live where they live, or what kind of food do they eat, and what kind of religion do they belong to, and what fires them up about where they live. And so we get this taste of different samples around the world of what people are annoyed with, and we find some unifying themes that aren't geographically specific or culturally specific, and then we kind of take those and I think even though we are a negative band and we're fairly negative people, it is unifying because those are themes that we've discovered that everyone feels passionately about, that we encounter at least.
Well, passionate is probably a good word. You've hit America at a great time. There seems to be a great deal of passion going on in this country.
Yeah, the Americans definitely get fired up. I think maybe they lack a little direction and focus at times. Everyone's trying to go their own way. Republicans, pretty fired up always about anything. So, it's a great time to be touring. It's a dangerous time to be touring, as we've recently discovered. But that's why we do this. It would be hypocritical of us to kind of shy away from touring with the message that we kind of put forward.
Yeah, hopefully you haven't had any of the moments that we've seen in Paris most recently. Anything even close to that'd be tragic.
Absolutely. We're actually scheduled to play the Bataclan in less than 2 months. I don't think the show will go ahead anymore, so we're going to have to find somewhere else to play in France, which is a shame. It's a historical venue. It's a great place for people to go and enjoy music, and for terrorists to take advantage of that, of people that are completely unprepared for some kind of fight or battle, if you will, is pretty disgusting behaviour. But such is the world that we live in at the moment. So, we just have to trudge along and do our best. And, they're pretty horrific incidents that are occurring around the world, and what happened in San Bernardino yesterday. But those are the kinds of things that fuel what we're mad about and what we write about.
Just makes everybody shout a little bit louder. Perhaps we'll all get heard. With this most recent album, you worked with Will Putney again on production. It's the second album in a row, I believe. What does he bring to the table for you? What are you finding that he adds to your album that sort of pushes it further than it could have been?
Well, he's Jewish, so he brings a Jew element to the table. He's not really. His family's Jewish. Will's one of my best friends. We work very closely together. I was just on the phone to him 10 minutes ago. At this point, we went to him. I found him kind of. He didn't have a massive name when I found out about him and the records that he was making. I actually found out about him because of his own band's record that he produced. And so we came across the ocean to make Hate, and we just, sometimes you find people in the world that just everything clicks, and we're all great friends with him, and he's an insanely talented producer. So, having those two things and the friendship tie just makes it so smooth. I mean, he could be a great producer, but we might not get along with him, and we might make a great record, but it'd be less fun. Or he might be a great friend and not a very good producer, and we'd have a lot of fun and make a bad record. So to have those two things is a very unique thing, especially for 5 people. I mean, it's lucky enough that the 5 of us get along as it is. So to find a 6th person and to have them be as talented as he is, is really, you couldn't be luckier, especially for us. I mean, and we have a lot of friends who make their records with him, and they have similar sentiments. But for us, he focuses us a lot. He's a smart guy. He's very calculated, and, because there's 5 of us kind of pushing and pulling in every direction, he brings it together in a way that we're all happy with. No one's ever really too pissed off or upset with the concessions that they make. So, he's the focus. He brings all our stupid ideas together and makes us look smart.
Now, I know the most recent record was recorded in secret, all that mystery. Did you come back to America and record here again?
Would I?
Did you?
Since Holy War's been released, have we recorded again?
No. Has Holy War been recorded? Was it recorded here? I know you did Hate in New Jersey.
Yes, it was recorded in New Jersey. We finished the Summer Slaughter tour last year, which was in the late summer, coming into the fall, and then we spent a month in the studio, kind of just writing and lifting weights and not really doing anything. And then we recorded the album in like 2 weeks. And then we had like another week off, and then we went on another tour in the States with Born of Osiris. So we had this 2-month period, and we could have gone home and spent all this money flying back there just to fly back here. We optioned to stay here and save the money and make the record in the gap. So, sometimes you just get lucky and the scheduling works out and you can fit things in, because, for American bands to make a record in New Jersey, maybe they just drive a few hours, or maybe they drive across the country. For us, we're it's $15,000, $20,000 in flights. It's not a decision to take lightly. Yeah. And I live in the States as well, so I mean, it just makes it even that much more easier.
So I didn't realize. It must make it hard to rehearse.
We rehearsed one time like 5 years ago. Yeah. And we have a fill-in drummer on this tour, Jesse Beeler, from a band on the East Coast called Black Crown Initiate. We didn't even rehearse with him. We did the first show of this tour with no rehearsal, and it was great.
Well, that says a lot about musicianship.
Yeah, or sometimes the best way to do things is the laziest. Well, I don't know. Or the simplest. if everyone practices their things at home, then really you don't need to practice that much. Yeah.
Give me a moment here. Charts. You've had a lot of success in the charts with Hate and with Holy War, both of them climbing in America and in Australia. Do charts really matter for this genre, or is it more just about the fans?
I don't know. I think it's like kind of an industry-driven thing. I mean, it certainly helps us to get better tours because, you know, the industry is run on the back end by a lot of business people, so they're going to look at numbers and stuff like that. And if we charted at 700, they're going to go, oh, maybe we won't put Thy Art on any tours. So thankfully, you know, we did pretty well. A few years ago when we released Hate in Australia, it was the highest charting death metal album in Australian history at 35, and this time we did number 7. So we beat our own record, which is pretty cool. I mean, we're not one to rest on our laurels or whatever, but again, it's one of those things also that's more vindicating for the parents and the families around us and our partners. You know, we're metal people, but they're not metal people. They're teachers, and actually there's more teachers in our band's parents. Teachers, work at grocery stores, accountants, like they're boring, normal, lovely parents, very supportive, but they don't know what we do they don't live the lifestyle. So for them, that's a small victory. But for us, you know, it's a positive feeling, and it is a way for us to gauge our progress. So that's the other benefit of increasing our spot on the charts, I guess.
Wanted to talk a little bit about the album cover. You had some controversy. You chose a graphic for the cover that, well, it ended up being changed. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yep. You know, we talked about the album title and having the album called Holy War, and that was scary enough for some of the guys. It's just what I wanted it to be called. I thought it would be very impactful and not necessarily controversial, but alarming in a way that it's raising awareness. It isn't designed to create any kind of controversy or stir, you know, any kind of weird emotions between people, but you know, I think we just displayed something that is a real life occurrence in the world. You know, people of various faiths use children as weapons for their beliefs, and certainly there have been instances where children have been strapped with bombs, you know, because of their disarming appearance and their innocence, and that's something that really kind of pisses me off. So I decided to put it on the album cover. I was the art director for the record, and I had my great friend Thomas Savage take the photographs, and the child on the photo is the child, I won't say the sex, of one of my dear friends who happens to come from a same-sex relationship. So that was the extra hidden touch of unholiness, yes. You know, because a lot of Republicans or a lot of various religious faiths would be really, you know, that they don't approve of that, and I do, so I'm going to stick it in their face.
I understand. So last thing I got for you is touring. Obviously, you're out on tour now. We're coming up to the end of the year. It's a couple of weeks till Christmas. What are you doing for 2016?
Oh, 2016, I was actually just on the phone about an hour ago about that, trying to get it all locked in. We're doing some touring.
Shocking.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we try to work hard. Next year's looking like a pretty light year though for us. Maybe 4 tours around the world, maybe a 5th one somewhere in there if we can find the time. But you know, we're trying to focus more on touring smart, because the last couple of years, I mean, I think we've done like 20 something tours in 2 years. The guys would like to see their families and partners. I just had a baby, so you know, I don't mind working, but it would be cool to see the baby.
Yes, it would, I'm sure. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah.
So I you know, we're just trying to focus more on doing smart tours, maybe making them longer, headlining a little bit more so we can play more songs for you. I know this year we only did a festival and a support tour, and last year we did 2 support tours and a festival tour in the States. No headliners since 2013. So we'd like to play more songs for you and play more of the back catalogue and mix it up. And we're going into a facility in a couple of days to make some music that might come out sometime next year. I don't know.
EP or single, or what are we talking?
It's top secret. This is a passion project. You know, it's going to be fun. It has nothing to do with money. It actually costs us money to make it that we're not going to make back, but it's really fun. And not enough bands are having fun with music nowadays. I mean, we're pretty serious, but we like to have fun. So we're going to make a little cool thing. And
So I can quote you that you're doing a dubstep takeoff. No?
I hate all forms of electronic music, so we won't be...
You plug your guitar in?
Yeah. Dance music is not for me. So, but we'll be making something cool, and we also have like 2 B-sides from Holy War that we never recorded vocals for. So I got to find the time. We got to find the time to come up with ideas and write some lyrics for them, and then CJ will lay them down, and you know, be cool to get those out there as well. I mean, they're cool songs. They just didn't make the album. It would have been too long. So, yeah, that's 2016 in a nutshell. When I know what we're doing, I guess everyone else will know. I got to figure that out too.
That's all I got. Thank you much for your time today.
No worries. Thanks a lot.